Well, we want to say good afternoon, good evening to those of you who are here. Our audience is very sparse this evening, but that is the nature of poetry. The troubadours and the bards used to travel all over countrysides. Sometimes they would have a lot of people would gather in small towns, hamlets, villages. And then sometimes it would just be a few people, but poetry goes on. On behalf of Marc and myself, and Marc's in the office and the deputy reports, we want to thank you for just tuning in and showing up for Ebony and Ivory. I'll let Marc talk a little bit about the background of that, but this is just really a great opportunity for us to join together, display diversity in poetry, and so we're going to do what we do.
That's right. Wow. So back in January, Emmett came down and was a featured reader of the Salem Poetry Project, and as always, was an absolutely wonderful reading. Made the comment we should do an event together. And so here we are. A couple months later, let's do it. So we're gonna go ahead and do it. It's great. Wow. Be here.
So who wrote the idea for Ebony?
Stevie Wonder came out with one of those great songs. Ebony and Ivory was a huge hit. And, obviously, I'm black and he's white, so it fits. And we thought we'd bring it over into kind of poetry, do a kind of a parody in a sense, and we do it in a poetry realm. We thought it might be attractive to people because Marc's a great guy. His poetry, I love his poetry. I would have asked him to read if I didn't enjoy his poetry. But then for us to do it together and accent diversity and inclusion in poetry, which is sometimes sorely like, I always have a joke, Marc, in poetry, people are smoking their own pride. You can't make anybody easy smoke your own pride. So you got to come out and get other people's pride. And our fault, but he's a phenomenal poet. Came up from Salem. So we want to be in everything I think.
And so on the, Emmett and I wrote a poem together. They're actually on the table. Yeah. And so we're going to read it. Ebony and Ivory. D major 7. A chord of tired fingers, nervous harmony.
2 notes, white plus 2 black notes. A major chord resonates like that.
Is there a song that cries for D major 7, that longs for its sound?
From a 2D duet rock and soul, racial harmony, lyrically tone.
A single note's tone. It is less than incomplete without its brothers.
So we be brothers and certainly poets. We want the poetry world to know. And,
I like that.
yeah.
Can you hear?
Perfect.
Yeah. All right.
So I'm gonna get this party started, and I'm gonna open up, and I'll just share with you some poems this evening. And one of the things I like to do is generally when I'm doing poetry, sometimes there's a large crowd, and sometimes there's a very sparse crowd, but sometimes there are new poets, people who are new to poetry. They're just starting to write poetry. And oftentimes they don't want to get up and read their poems, and they're worried because they're there and all these people are supposed giants in poetry and they get intimidated. So I thought this evening I would open up with a poem that I wrote, and it's called For the New Poet. For the New Poet. Diane, never frame an unwritten poem. Do not mount it in a gallery for viewing. See it on the canvas first. Bring to mind the baking of bread. Yeast always takes time to rise. Be mindful of what's to come. Hang it on the wall of your imagination. Let the unwritten poem settle there. Then place its recipe Hebrews on the canvas. Dave, invite the world to view. Pass this advice on to the new poem. I thought about that a lot. A lot of these things occur in our imagination. When we take them from our imagination, we transpose them into paper so people can read them. One of the things that, since I'm going to have time tonight, one of the things I like to talk about a lot, poetry was always meant, or verse, or whatever you want to call it, was meant to be read out loud. It was meant to be read out loud. The only problem is with the advent of the printing press. And guess what happens? People stop reading poetry out loud, and they read it in their head. And so that was one of the impediments to poetry, but poetry is making a comeback. Sometimes I'm in the library, or sometimes I'm in the bookstore, and I have to tone it down. There was a certain in the library, yeah, but this was supposed to be read out loud. So that's why we have poetry such as this. What I want to do this evening too, I planned, I don't get an opportunity often to talk about blackness. I don't do rap. I'm too old for hip hop jersey. I've got that extended stomach now, that comes from. But honestly, as I move to the poetry world in Oregon, I hear all kinds of poetry, but I don't necessarily hear poetry that talks directly about something that relates to me, and that's blackness. So what you're going to hear is a number of poems that address blackness, but you're also going to hear some poems too that address diversity. And there's going to be a poem that I'm just going to talk about sexual orientation, gender identity, because poetry is the most liberating thing of just short of my faith that I've found in life. And let me tell you why. Because in poetry, I can go anywhere I want. I can go on the Yangtze River. I can be an Irish boy in love with Irish girls. I can be a tree by a river. I can talk about antebellum. I can talk about I can go through all of these worlds without restriction. It's the most liberating thing I know, just short of my faith. So, that being said, the poem is titled, All It Will Ever Be. Tell me all it will ever be. When bones have dried, will they live again? Why would a golden moon ever change its color? If I were to graduate again, I would strike a pose. Some things in this world exist without explanation. I appear dead outside while my bones are alive. Being black means my skin can never change its color. To graduate again, it necessitates another commencement. I do not exist without explanation. What I do does. That is what it is, and all it will ever be. All it will ever be. This poem, next poem that I want to share this evening is called A Chair is Never Just a Chair. A chair is never just a chair. There's a great soul singer, R&B, Luther Vandross. And one of his songs the lyricist wrote the words, a house is not a home. And when I heard that, I was just, any of us who are involved in poetry know that an element of poetry, there's what is called syllable poetry. Syllable, syllabic, however you want to say it. In other words, that deals with syllables. Like, for example, Shakespeare wrote in iambic pentameter. So if you look at most of Shakespeare's, like Othello, or Father Luck, me often if I still question the story of my life from year to year, I ran it through for my voice. That's from Othello. The syllable, the syllable. Well, a house is not a house. A house is not a house is not a house. The number of syllables. I just love the way that it bounces. A chair is never just a chair. I endeared myself to a nation I did not birth. I ingested its creeds. I assimilated its constitution. I sounded its clarion call. I laid claim to its exceptionalism. I did not call into question its revisionist history. I removed its lies from peripheral vision. I colored it with colorless crayon. Without hesitancy, I remained silent in the darkness of injustice. I did not lust after Lady Liberty because I took her for granted like a lady's virtue available for purchase. When this gopher finally lifted his head, he saw his nation for what it was and for what it is. A two-party political system that takes it for granted. The way Thomas Jefferson seized the God, Sally Henry. I discovered a chair is never just a chair. You know, one of the things about my poetic journey is because I can go in and explore different things, I do. But Dave, I do the very best that I can to understand. I never want to offend somebody. I never want to use language that is offensive. However, I'm concerned about going in and changing language, like in the Huckleberry Finn, some of the language that was used in it. I don't believe in going back and rewriting it. We understand that was the way that it was spoken in those particular days. We have some things currently in our society today that is looming large. How many of you heard of being queer? How many of you heard of LGBTQ? How many of you heard of transgenderism? It's a big part of our society. How many know that transgenderism affects every race, every ethnic group under the sun? It's a reality in our world. So I wanted to write about it. A poem for Sam, born one. A poem for Sam, born one. At birth, Juanita was placed in a dress. Did her vagina portend femininity? Juanita would grow up loving baseball. Men's jeans best reflected her disposition. Juanita roughhoused with neighborhood boys. Not a tall tree appeared disinvited. Juanita would grab her crotch with a grudge. A prom queen never to be. Juanita eventually changed her name to Sam. To black men, it kind of sings. Sleeping with boys never brought her joy. As Sam, she believed herself to be a man. No one understood her better than himself. Sam doesn't give a damn. A penis doesn't make a man a man. Juanita was the man he was meant to be. I'm not making a value judgment. I'm just saying a reality that people experience. Whatever people's opinion is going to be on that, they have to work that out for themselves. But it's beautiful that I can actually explore it, write about it, put it in the poetic realm which so many of us understand that makes it work really well. Just a few more points, just a few more points. This is one of my all-time favorite poems. It is one of my all-time favorite poems. It's called Box 10. Box 10. I saw a man with no teeth bruised, and smiling. I bumped into a woman who had no feet, and she crawled. I hugged a child with no arms. We laughed until I cried. A blind man called out to me. Why could I not see? Where is it he was calling from? A homeless man cursed at me. And Marc, afterward, he and I shared his beer. This is the one I love. Listen. A streetwalker propositioned me. I replied, thank you, but no thank you. Then named the street after her. Oh, love that. A verse. Just no thank you, but thank you. It didn't demean her. And then I named the street after her to give her value. Some people are boxed in. Life is like that for some people. Life is like that. The point I call boxed in.
Which book is that?
It might be in as clean as gold. Yeah, it might be. I got so many points, I can't remember which one.
Really like that.
Yeah. Couple more points, please. Just a few more points, bear with me. Upon telling my condolences. And I think in our society it's a shame how we value some people and lesser value others. I believe in equality. I think people should be respected. New York Yankees owner George Steinbrenner died this morning, according to that bastion of sports news, ESPN. It was a massive heart attack, prompting shock and mourning. He was 80 years old. I was eating breakfast in a 5-star hotel in San Francisco when the breaking news broke. By then, the whole world was taking note. Given the savvy age of technology, blogging, instant messaging, without a doubt, for some, it was quite the reckoning. New York Yankees owner George Steinbrenner. I hear that as an owner, he is the winner of 7 World Series titles, the most ever among professional baseball owners. No question he'll be in the hall. Then again, that's just baseball. My condolences to the Steinbrenner family. Meanwhile, across town, an 80-year-old Chinese woman opened and closed her eyes for the very last time. For some reason, the media, neither internet media, reported, broadcast, text, nor tweeted the passing of her power. She was from Shanghai, a province of China. Having immigrated here, the Statue of Liberty always reminded her of the freedom she held near and dear. For 60 years, she labored in the same old dry cleaner as a seamstress, earning minimum wage, by then seen so beneath her. She buried a sick husband, raised 3 children, of whom two are doctors, and the other, well, he's a proctologist. Go figure. They neither visit nor do they call. All three being rabid New York Yankee fans and all. They can always be found at Yankee games. But then again, that's just baseball. My condolences to the challenge. Yeah, I was I want to share with you, today feels kind of indicative of my struggle with poetry, my 15-year journey. I'm everywhere, man. I'm at other poets' readings. You know, oftentimes I'm the only person of color in the group. Sometimes in the pandemic or Zoom, there'd be 80 folk, and I'm the only person of color. You look at all these schools, and never seen that. I got good poetry. I got some okay poetry. I got some bad poetry. Remember back in the civil rights movement, the sign would say no blacks allowed. I'm just going to be honest with you, it's Ebony and Ivory, so it's nothing but it. The poem's called No Blacks, No Blacks. Being a black poet, I was knocking at a door that would never let me in. Eventually, Diane, I realized there was an invisible sign that said, no blacks allowed. Then it occurred to me, there's another door. A bigger door. A door that held access to a larger world. A bigger galaxy with more stars and bigger planets. And a universe with my name assigned to it. And the acceptance there twinkles in my eyes. Twinkles in my eyes. Honestly, these are the last 2 points. I know because I'm scrolling in front of me. Black love. I will actually be married to my wife Karen, who's in Texas right now with our other 2 daughters. And they're all together for Mother's Day. My younger daughter's home. And so we will be married 43 years, June 16th.
Congrats.
Black love. I just finished watching a movie featuring Black love. Black love moves me. I fell hard for it. Rarely, if ever, do I get to watch Black love. I can feel myself aroused by his and her affection. His press against her tender lips, the voluptuousness of her full body after. I have held a black woman's body in my manly arms, felt the press in the lower seam of her back as she leaned slightly back. I reveled that there was no sex scene. The director left it to my imagination. It's rare for me to see in cinema black love. It was every bit an encounter of the heart. He offered her his mother's wedding ring. At that moment, I was him, and he was me. No one knows the fervent love I have for the black woman. After 43 years of fidelity to a black woman, I found loving a black woman more than enough. The movie, The Harder They Fall. I fell hard. Last one. I put this point last because this point cuts through, it just cuts through all the things in society that separates us and divides us and where there's conflict. If you hear this point and what it's saying, then it's a really simple message. I think you'll walk out of here with something to work with. It's called It Costs You Nothing. It costs you're nothing. As you move through this world, be kind. Share smidgens of sweetness as you go. Stop coloring the world with visible crayon. Pluck daisies for the living. Whenever possible, part ways with your coat, your shoes, for anyone in need of the shirt off your back. Harness the might of mercy. Let compassion unfurl your life's sail. Apply a second thought before every decision. Retreating to the towering tree that is silence. Part ways with contrarian and seek to know yourself. Never forget to wear a smile. It costs you nothing. Thank you very much. I appreciate it from all of you that came out to see me. Thank you so much. Come on, Marc.
So, yeah, big thank you to Emmett for setting this up. I really appreciate all the work that you've done for this. And I want to start off with two poems by Tim Stafford. This first one is called For the Birds Singing Before Dawn. Some people presume to be hopeful when there's no evidence for hope, to be happy when there is no cause. Let me say now, I'm with them. The deep darkness on a cold twig in a dangerous world. One first little fluff lets out a peep, a warble, a song, and in a little while, behold, the first glimmer comes, then a glow filters through the misty trees. Then the bold sun rises. Then everyone starts bustling about. And that first crazy optimist, can we forgive her for thinking, dawn by dawn, hey, I made that happen. And oh, life is so fine. This is the second poem by Tim Stafford that I wanted to read. It's called At the Student Poetry Reading. I guess you could call me broken, says one. I'm still lonely, but now I name it with a song. My poem, says another, I can't forget, I am forgotten. Now I understand being misunderstood, says another. And another says, in a bold, undeniable voice of power, I won't step down from myself again. And they look beautiful. Beautiful. Standing one by one at the mic, where they have come forth at last from behind. So I brought 5 poems, mine. And this first one is a poem that kind of follows this last one. is titled My Son of Guernica. Guernica is a painting. Goes by Picasso. Depicting a scene from the Spanish Civil War. And other very My Son of Guernica. It's amazing that the stick figures, the smudged window panes, are transmitted through the air to the pink folds of your ear, to the flaccid hammer of your ear, to the angry shell of your ear. It's amazing. My fingers move, holding the line maker that conforms black ink to culturally accepted pictures to pierce the masquerade lens of your eye, to pierce the grease-stained soul of your eye, to pierce the skeptical wrinkle of your eye. If poets wrote the laws of nature, men would fly. If poets wrote the laws of physics, women would wear stars in their hair. If poets wrote poetry, each day would be a little less like Guernica. This is a poem I wrote a couple years ago. And particularly the last part of it, maybe lend some images to a video by a bell called Rhythm, which I watched when my kids were in a confirmation class. It's called The Stars Will Welcome You, Brother. In the tear-tuned, lustrous night, when water is blood softly hammering Earth's old veins, and dew sobs the bone end of powers like a lullaby, I'm the smallest dart, the quietest, in this unsung negative count. Light calls from behind the cirrus curtain, muted, moon, alto comets. Plastic satellites synchronize the electronic pulses to 4/4, sweep to metronomic precision, left to right, right to left. Held between the Earth's and the infinite by a thought. A notion. And gravity steadying hand. There is a rhythm to the universe. A chord played below the level of the noise that resonates across the strings of those attentively listening and resonates across those that aren't. I'm going to read two poems from my book, November Reconsidered. The idea of the book is to kind of take a moment in time. It's like a regular day, a regular experience. And then just kind of go down into it as deeply as I can. And so the book goes from very early in the morning until very late at night. Different things happen on different days. Some of the poems are more fun than others. This one's called so they're named out strangely, with a place and then a time and a day. PE, 1:10 p.m. Monday, November 8th, 1982. So I was a junior in high school. This one is actually autobiographical. Buffy and Cleveland dictate names with the lash of a soccer field. Why not? They were leaders. They were leaders. They are leaders. One, the quarterback, the other a goon or something, a starter at any rate. On the varsity football team, the teacher who didn't seem like the sport or know much about it obligated from a distance, holding one of those ancient, tired, red soccer balls from the 1950s, cast from rigid rubber, plastic, the torments of freshman initiations. Of course, they don't make them anymore, or they shouldn't. Bill do, John. With each name, impressive shorts-wearing students drained out onto the grass. Of course, it's nothing like peers picking teams to illustrate what the high school social order had imposed. Cisco, I'll take Clyde. You'd think there'd be a drive to win. But these teams never seem to reflect. Always chose the bland athletes who were dismal parents of the football team over anyone who played on one of the 3 club soccer teams housed in the same high school and practiced on the same field. But then, some weren't really athletic at all, just in the clique. Of course, that's what they weren't doing. They were enforcing. Snyder, Fredo. Like Alfredo, one of the 3 Hispanic boys in school, an attacking midfielder with a vision of pace. Pass, shoot, a low center of gravity player with sticky feet and the mouth shoved full upward. Never seemed to matter. Fredo would play his game. Receive the ball or strip it, play out over the right field in the grass, swallow the ball like eyeglass, spin them like the stupid tops that they were, burn the whole team. And then get fouled in the box. Maybe throw a punch, loose a few words, get out, and you could them home. Everyone had their own prosecution. Randy over here, Hobbs, Randy, Randall, well, of course, me. Starting right back on the place 2 days after winning the Lions tournament. Peter, Bruce, Michelle, and Ooga. Someone spurted at the back. The thrilling delight of the quick boys. Of course, the mocking ejaculation was on her boobs, like everything is for Jim, short testosterone between morning and adulthood. In this match, all were present for a moment, except for one. Before the opportunity to make another. Let's go, the 8th distinction. One left, someone shared. Of course. Buffy rolled his eyes. 2 teams impelled into position. But these really weren't teams. Nothing team about my father. Took the space and the Ebony defense created for the sole purpose of being destroyed. Teetered between caring, deeply, solely caring, or with sole deliberation, unwilling a middle finger to wave across the field, the hills, and everything. It was foolish to pretend that if I played well, really well, it would change. Of course, it did. It never would. Nothing. Except for you. This one's called In the Dark, 11:55 p.m. Wednesday, November 23rd, 2005. So, very late at night. I guess if I wanted to find the things, it would be I used to travel for work. Sometimes you get in a mood today. Do you kiss a sleeping wife? After 10 days, 15 days on came the drooping dust of airports and planes and rail cars. Came the spent scars of Odie's meetings and angry time zones. 10 days of obligation. 10 days of liability, everything that makes men live shorter than lives of women. After 10 days on the road, the children have changed. Their faces, the food they like to eat, what they hate, their emotional scars have been rearranged. They intuited something and they're willing to leave you. They must love you for a while. They are a little more distant, a little more grown up. Responsibility has settled with them in ways that were not there. Not like 10 days. They want less, listen less, need less. Do you kiss a sleeping wife? Risk breaking their slumber as you flag off the socks you donned 17 hours ago in the dark. The exhausted pants and logo polo of the hamper slip into bed. There are adjustments now. To the November rain, to the November expectation, the November settlement, schedules and scoldings, homework and housework. They adjust to me, and I adjust to them. Do you kiss a sleeping wife? Yes. On the cheek. So, this is Ebony and Ivory reading, and I don't have a lot of poems that address race. I have one. This is it. This is it. I've got one. I wrote this a couple years ago, about the same time as I wrote the Stars of Love review. About the same time frame. This is actually all these were published. This was published in the NASA review. And there's a couple of ideas that kind of came up when I wrote this. The first was I saw this lecture by Neil deGrasse Tyson, who is an absolutely wonderful speaker, and he makes these complex ideas so approachable. And the thing that really grabbed my attention from that speech was that we are all related. We're all related biologically. We're all related we're all related economically, strangely enough. And it's like easy to do, okay, like we're all breathing here, the lungs, we have, we're breathing oxygen and nitrogen and carbon dioxide, and when we exhale, other people are breathing in. But it's even actually more than that. In the discussion that he had, he said that when we come into contact with each other physically, when we shake hands, when we hug, not all the atoms that were in our hand for the handshake come back with us. Some of them stay with you. And some of your atoms in the handshake come with me. That's really interesting. The other thing was, this was written during the Obama administration, and at that time, I was a youth leader at the church. And the media was kind of like, well, we're kind of like in a post-racial discrimination thing, and of course, we know that, as soon as it was silly to think about it now. But then, there's people that are making big talks like that. And I was a youth leader, and these kids at high school and middle school were kind of like really, all the really bad, discriminating stuff. I thought it was all, in the past. This kind of stuff. And it's still with us in your lives. And so when I wrote this, I was like, okay, well, I mentioned a couple of people's names. One of them, I mentioned Michael Donald. Michael Donald was lynched in Alabama in 1981. The other person I don't name in here, but I talked about Matthew Shepard. Matthew Shepard was murdered in Wyoming for being gay. So, okay. Truthful. It's called The Sea Itself Flows in Your Veins. Angels among the electrons. There are more atoms in that cup, that glass of water. There are more atoms in that glass of water than cups of water or glasses of water. And all the seas and lakes and rivers combined. There are more atoms in this breath of air than people who have ever lived. There are more atoms at the head of a pin than pins. You take away all the space between the electrons and the nucleus, and between all the atoms in the world, and all the mountains and rivers and people and trees and all the air and animals would be infinitesimally small. Too small to see. The eternal soup that expands, moans, and bends the sun, communicates sound by laying against your eardrum, the ability to be a liquid and a solid and a vapor, and still be one thing, the ability of a brain to cause the mouth to make a coherent sound, the miracle of brain and all the sacredness of the cheetah's run and the gazelle's leap, a hand holding a screwdriver, millions of tiny explosions inside the internal combustion engine, the sail filled with invisibility, the architecture of gravity, and the delicate ballet of the aurora borealis. And the memory of the fifth grade, walking home from school across the street, from a girl you liked, but didn't know how to talk to. What a beat to snap that silence. You will sail that quiet and live the car noise, maybe like talking to a bad man, a prophet, an evil genius, like talking to a cloud, a sun, a snowflake, and one quickly to the earth, like climbing the tallest mountain in the world, and like none of those things at all. So instead, just walking home with eyes across the street. The memory and the molecules, the electrons and chemicals, and tissues and the brain that is amazing to feel that way for a moment once again. Long lost brother of mine. The pickup truck's headlights illuminate the empty Wyoming landscape. Brush, grass, start with it. The beams half see the scene sweeping away, leave the fence post, the barbed wire, the wood tinged with color. Night is the best time. The best time to drive through certain neighborhoods looking, the best time to find someone unawares. Someone walking home from the store alone without anyone to witness. Reading, witness the treating, the knife, the rope. Anyone to witness. Night is the best time to find out. And night in the Mediterranean. Boats that were flying with cargo. The night in the Southwest, crossing the desert landscape. And the night in St. Louis, holding a sign, singing the defiance. And the reporter that kicks the kid, and the militia that confronts the girl, and the racist punk, holds the grenade, the guy who burns the church, the people who attend there, the boy they killed on that fence post, the guys who drove away, and Michael Donald, Henry Hayes, and James Knowles, and everything. The electrons that hold us together, the chemicals that bind us, within our skin, binds you to me, with you being everybody, and with me being everybody. An interior identity. There are things I don't have to worry about. I do the same stuff. You and I. 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 Same blood pounding in our hearts. We are brothers. Related. I being everybody that looks like God, with you being everybody created in God's image. With you being everybody that looks like God, with I being created in God's image. We are wonderfully made, the same clay that I can scale. I don't have to think about it much. Because of my race, I can progress through the world and Hades. I will always get the job. If I don't get the job, there'll be another one sooner or later. And when I get the job, my coworkers will accept me. No questions asked. When I turn on the TV, it's a mirror. I look back at myself. I'm all over the radio. Algorithms make certain I'm well represented online. What's up in newspapers write about me exhaustively. When I read history, novel, book of poetry, I read about me. If I need to move, I can choose where to go. I assume my neighbors will be neutral or pleasant. I can go shopping. No one cares. By myself. I'm not singled out, I'm not flagged, I'm not the dark exempt. I don't think special, unspoken responsibility to others. People don't look at me. I'm not followed. No one notices. Just another doughy white dude on the sales floor. I just exist in a world of assumptions. And I assume, because I was a class, that anyone can achieve their modest goals, even though I know that it's a lie. I assume whatever I want, whatever biases I choose, whatever I assume will be true, is nothing that's harder than whatever statistics I choose to believe. If I get pulled over by the police, I can be rude. I wouldn't. There's no danger if I was. By day, the police are annoying to me. At night, they will protect and serve if I don't. That's not the way it is with everybody. With everyone. The people I share blood with. The people I share DNA with. I share chemistry with. I share history with. I share love with. I share atoms and molecules with. People who are the same as me. Might as well be me. Might as well be me. You're the same. More the same than different. And in that we are different in our sins. It's not fair. Someone should talk to our manager about this. Someone should write out carefully where they are. The powers that be. The sky says travel. All the ladders, the burning wheels, the lightning, the colossal statues, all the enormous buildings with spires into the sky depending on the heavens. Till there falls all the lights, the cherubs and griffins, all the burning bushes, the snakes, the insects, the vapors, all the wine and grape juice, all the books with their various shades, their second-hand suppositions, their ships of take on the matter, all the building fronts, the council elections, all the hats and satins and robes, all the stoles and silk shoes and magical underwear, all the Renaissance portraits, all the French cherubs, all the mosaics, all the choirs, the bells, the pipe organs, the string quartets, the guitar combos, all the film-filled songs, the Latin, the Greek, all the Handel, the Marc, the Western, the Tavern, the Michael W. Smith, the Paul Walsh, all the TV networks, the tongues, the shaking, the shouts, the political politicians, the experts, the mouthpieces, the judges, the elites, the dogma trolls, all the giant Captain Snaps, the rifts, the illusionary distance between the earth and the sky, everything that makes violent the children of love, everything that is built, place the illusion of the wall between you and with I being us, with you being I, knows. we are composed of billions and billions of atoms. New atoms. As new as the universe itself. And each vibrates with an infinite song that tells the story of our lives. The story of you and me, and the story of me and you.
Marc, thank you. Come on, we'll give it a Wow, I don't know. You must get lost sometimes. Right up. Wow. We're going to do our open mic now, and we have 2 poets. Only 2 poets here. And I can't tell you enough how thrilled I am that Bruce and I can't listen. We go way back. We go years back. I remember when I went to my first Poetry Association conference, and they were there. And it was in Virginia, I think it was Alabama, I can't remember the name. And we all went out to dinner that evening, a bunch of us. And I'm telling you, we had a great time just talking poetry, developing a friendship, and they're both wonderful poets that I respect and I admire. I'm not gonna let it go to hell over that. I'm gonna wind up in hell. I'm gonna get a good one. So, no, this is honestly how I feel about the both of them. So, I want to make a few minutes. I want to share a couple of points apiece, and then we'll call it a night. But however you want to go, Bruce and I, would you welcome?
Thank you. Settle down now. Responsibility.
Here comes the man.
First of all, I would like to make an announcement on behalf of someone who can't be here with us, and that's Alex Levins. Horse Thief Meadows, the collected poems of the late Alex Levins, is now available for pre-release orders from Finishing Line Press. Finishing Line Press, you go to their website and you can find Horse Thief Meadows, Alex's collected poems. It's a tribute to his family. It took Eric LaFan and me almost 2 years to get this thing through publication. These are fine poems. A little bit haunting now that there won't be any more. For my own part, I have 3 minutes and it takes about 45 seconds each for these little poems. So I can relax. Poets are supposed to be seers, visionaries. This one needs reading glasses. First poem I'd like to read to you appeared in Field Guide Poetry Magazine. It's a lovely magazine, and I hope you like this. The title is Desire. The Douglas fir weaves the air, presses and releases currents of silence and sighs, signals of something unseen in the sunlight. It wrestles the breeze to the ground, grips the soil with roots like talons. The air disappears without a cry. What is foreign here is the man who notices the tree's transfigured limbs, its branches made into weaver's hands. He does not belong, belongs to be caressed like the air by the hands of the tree. The second poem appeared in an online journal called Dear God. Online journals are wonderful. They're dazzling. They appear, they're big on your screen. They reach sometimes way more people than print journals do. The only thing I don't like is that I don't have a copy to put on my shelf. It's my baby shelf. This one is, This was occasioned by the workshop I went to at the Port Townsend Writers Conference in 2017. Diane went to. Her workshop leader was Dana Levins. Dana prepared meticulously. She had the people in her class working a week before the conference even started. My instructor was Marc Doty. Marc Doty, well-known poet, and he winged it. He just winged it. I complained to one of the other students in the class, I said, we have a workshop, a single poem here. And she said, I'm just glad to be in the same room with him. And I said, so is he. We did have one sentence of advice that I've remembered all this time. Be open to the possibility of further development. Good advice. This poem is entitled Further Development. You swish the slick paper around in the slightly sloshed tray, smelling a vague chemical smell, waiting for the image to rise from the bath, dripping as a baby from the plastic tub in mother's two hands. And what will it develop into? What image from the gray cloud at first was? Be open. Be open. And this last little guy probably should be open to further development. It's only 6 lines. I recently read Earthwork, the latest collection from Kristen Berger. And it seemed like one of her favorite words was horizon. And that's the name of this poem, Horizon. Waiting for my next step, I'm almost asleep and almost awake. Long Beach Peninsula is all horizon, over which lies nothing to be feared, every new life there will ever be. I think Ebony and Ivory is a wonderful idea, and I think you ought to have it monthly, so people understand that you are serious. I yield the balance of my time to my colleague from the great state of Oregon.
For the great state of Oregon.
Diane Corson.
All right, kids. Ebony and Ivory, forever you will be called that.
You're right.
This is a little catchy and very lovely. This is going to be your connection center. Well, I don't think I'm online.
I'm going to connect to the internet.
New paper, I should run paper.
I think it's just Elmer's Wi-Fi.
Often my poetry comes from a real experience. I wish I had, well, I have a lot of imagination, but it seems like I'll see something and it becomes a poem. This poem happened, was inspired by an event at the Portland airport. Woman with a crown. In line to step into the X-ray machine at the airport. I was nudged in the back of my legs. It seemed not to be aggressive. I turned slowly to see her in a wheelchair. Old beyond anything I have ever seen. With the softest eyes and gentlest demeanor, gray hair held back into a bun, with a wreath, a crown upon her head of green and white embroidered flowers. Around her head, this wreath. I felt her to have special powers. Whether a witch or a native warrior woman, I told her she was beautiful with the flowered crown. I turned back to face the machine. Another nudge came from her. She held out her hands with the flowered crown. She said, "For you." In a humble voice, I said that she was too lovely wearing her very own crown, that no one else could ever wear it. Delighted, she placed it back on her head with a gentle sfumato look to her Mona Lisa smile, heightened by not knowing.
Hey, that's beautiful.
Yeah, this other one, Fall River, which is a river in England on the way to the Falmouth city on the east coast of England. And this also was a story that I witnessed and was so inspired by the situation that it became a poem. Fall River. Our boat moved downriver, the Fall River's green foam against the inevitable tide coming in. Yours and mine who knew how I've loved so well the way of our sails on this boat. The motors chug as if an African queen within its beat, the sound of Louis' horn, Armstrong horn, sung by a sailor. The blues rang out with a hooked arm on his mast, on his boat. Another on his saxophone, from his lips. What a wonderful world, sung out from his boat. It was then I believed him. What a wonderful world.
Wow.
Well, I guess, thank you everyone who came. I thank you everyone who read. Thank you.
Yeah.
This is an American for Elmer's. It was all of everyone loved the food, so that was good. And so,
I wonder if a Sunday would be better. Saturday night?
who knows? Anyway,
Yeah, who knows?
so
I just feel like we have enough friends in the poetry world that we should be supporting each other.
Yeah, right. No matter what day. Really. Yeah.
anyway, enjoy the rest of the evening, and it was great.